Okay guys, I'm trying something new here. This is a different program to make and edit these videos. You won't get to see my face, but I'm sure you won't be too disappointed about that anyway. We're starting with multiplication now. We're going to start by talking about arrays, which is something you should have learned in 3rd grade, but just to review a little bit, I want you to look here. I've drawn 2 different arrays. One has 2 down the side and 3 across the top. So this array would represent the math problem 2 times 3 equals 6. This one over on the other side has 2 down the side and 6 across the top. So that would represent the math problem 2 times 6 equals 12. These are 2 pretty common arrays. This one over here might be like a 6-pack of pop that you buy at the store, and this one over here might be a dozen eggs that you buy in the store. They're arranged in this kind of fashion. So arrays are one way that you can represent multiplication problems. We're kind of going to squish a few different lessons into one here, simply because some of it's review and some of it's probably the easier stuff that we do in 4th grade math. So the next thing we're going to look at is multiplying by 10 and 100. And again, we've already looked at this a little bit in our minute math. So this should be a bit of a review too. Okay, so let's start with one that we can all figure out together. Let's do 5 times 10. Okay. If you don't know this problem, you have several different ways to figure it out. One would be an array. You could use like base 10 blocks. Have 10s, so that would be 10, 20, 30, 40, 50. That would be 10 down the side and 5 across the top, and we just counted that up to equal 50. That's one way you could do it. You could count by 5s, because we've all been able to do that for a long time. You could count by 10s, because we've all been able to do that for a long time. But what we're trying to get to here is that you don't have to do any of this to solve it. We're trying to get to the point that you can say, okay, look, I know that whole deal about the one to the left is 10 times more, so if I want to make this number, this 10 right here, if I want to make it into whatever 5 times 10 is, I need to make 5 the one to the left that's 10 times more. So I need to move my 5 to the left by putting a 0 on the right. Or we've talked about before, you get rid of your 0 and put it on your answer, and then you just do 5 times 1, which is 5. Okay, so I know that was a lot of different ways to kind of throw it at you there, but that's all different ways to solve this 5 times 10. So what about multiplying by 100 then? So let's do 3 times 100. Okay, again, you could make an array with base 10 blocks. Remember, hundreds are big squares. There's 100, there's 200s, there's 300s. So this problem is 100 and then 3 down the side. That's kind of an array. That's a little different, but so you have 100 times 3. You could say, like we counted it out, 100, 200, 300. So we know it's going to equal 300. Let's look at some other ways to solve this, though. So we don't always want to be drawing pictures. Okay, so you could do count by 3s 100 times. Nope, that's not going to be an option this time. You could count by 100s, though. Like we did, kind of. We have 100, 200, 300s. So that would still equal that 300 over here. Okay? And then, of course, there's the way we've been working on in minute math, where you can take the zeros off and put them on your answer. Then you just have 3 times 1, which is 3. So again, you get 300 for your answer. The last thing that we're going to try to squeeze into this one mini lesson here is multiplying by multiples of 10 and 100, that sounds a lot more complicated than what it really means. It's saying that instead of 5 times 10, we're going to use a multiple of 10. So we're going to do maybe 5 times 30 instead. We took 10 times 3 to get 30. 30 is a multiple of 10. So 5 times 30, we can use those same tricks we did before when it was just 5 times 10. We could count by 5s 30 times. I don't think that's the best strategy. If you know how to count by 30s, that wouldn't be too bad, but who knows how to count by 30s? That's a strange thing to learn. So let's use our zeros trick, where we can get rid of that 0 and put it on our answer right away. Then we just have 5 times 3 instead. 5 times 3, you should know, 5, 10, 15. Okay, so 5 times 30 is going to be 150. Okay, that zeros trick is a nice little way. Let's practice another one there. Let's do 7 times 40. Okay, so just like before, we can take our 0 off of the problem and put it on our answer. We can't just get rid of it. We have to put it somewhere. So we put it on our answer. Then we just have 7 times 4, which is a little bit easier if you know your basic facts. 7 times 4 should be 28. So your answer is going to be 280. So that's how you multiply multiples of 10. Let's look at some hundreds now really quickly. If you're multiplying by multiples of 100, so that's like saying 3 times, not 100, but a multiple of 100, so maybe 400. Okay? Just like with the tens, we can use that nice little zeros trick, because we don't want to be counting out 400 3 times, or geez, 400 times. That's going to take us all year. So we can use our zeros trick. Take the zeros off. We had 1, 2 zeros here, so we need to put 1, 2 zeros on our answer. Then you just have 3 times 4, which is way easier. 3 times 4, we should all know that's 12. And that's our answer to that problem. Let's try one more really quickly. Let's do 6 times 900. And just looking at that seems like, oh no, that is too much. 900 is a big number, but when you use that zeros trick, take your zeros off of your problem and put them on your answer. Can't just get rid of numbers in math, you got to put them somewhere. So we put them on the other side there. Now we just have 9 times 6, which is a little bit easier, especially if you know your basic facts. If you don't know them, you have that nines trick you can use. You're doing 9 times 6, so you can count over 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Put this finger down. Then this side is your tens place, this side is your ones place. So my answer is going to be 54. So my answer is going to be 5,400 with those zeros on there. Okay? Hopefully that made sense. You've got a couple problems on your paper to practice, and we'll see how you do tomorrow.